Men over 40, if there was no fear, you would decide today, even if you didn't have all the answers. I have done 3 resets in my 40s, and understanding how fear played a role in all of those made the biggest difference in my life. See, the only mental framework you need to understand is regret versus fear. That's the only thing. Because us in our 40s, you and me, we don't really need more time or more information. We just need to make sure that pain and fear don't dictate what decisions we make. So every major decision in your life, if you think about those, you want to change direction, you want to bet on yourself financially or career-wise, or you want to leave that bad relationship, it boils down to 3 things. So number 1, what do you know? What's the information? What's the gut feeling telling you? Number 2, how much do you trust it? Meaning how likely it is that that thing is going to happen. And number 3, how afraid are you to act on that thing? See, if I were to put that into an equation, it would look like this. So every major decision would be, so this is a formula. So information times trust divided by fear. And fear here is really the X factor, the biggest important and most important thing. So information, that's your data, that's the gut feeling or whatever. And then trust, that's the likelihood of that thing happening. But if you think about any other equation in life, so this is the denominator, the fear. When this thing goes higher, what happens? Everything gets blurry. But when you're able to reduce fear, everything gets more clear. You get clarity. So the real question is regret versus fear. How do I make sure that I'm actually betting on regret, making sure that I understand what is that I need to do today so that I don't regret it at the end of the day? How do I do it? I ask my future self. I put myself in my shoes when I'm 90 and I ask myself, do I have to go or do I have to stay? And then if I let fear determine what I do, then I'm actually avoiding. But if regret is the driving force, then I'm acting. So the other thing is act versus avoid. So never ever let fear dictate what you do. That's the thing. About my resets, the ones I mentioned. So my reset number 1. Let's start with that. This was the story about me breaking up, actually filing for divorce. So I was married for over 10 years and my ex-wife and I, we had 2 kids. And really the hard part is when you have dependencies. When you have a kid or 2, in our case, you have a mortgage, you have a house, and you have lived in multiple countries. So you have all of those stories that make it really hard for you to break that core family, right? So I was no different. So I had this gut feeling, my intuition was telling me, meaning the information from the previous page, that okay, this is not the thing. Then I asked myself, again, put myself in my future shoes. Is this something I'm going to regret for the rest of my life if I don't pull the plug right now? And actually, the lesson I learned regarding that was that those kids, those dependencies actually made the decision easier for me. Why? And not harder? Because when the kids are watching, you can't half-ass anything. Every decision is compounded. You have to be crystal clear that you understand what really truly matters. You have to help yourself first so that you can help your kids at the end of the day. Like being on an airplane, what do they tell you? When there's an emergency, the oxygen masks are being dropped down, right? So what are you supposed to do? Take care of yourself first and then the infant next to you. That's really the biggest thing there. But it was hard for me to give up on my family, the core family. That was really the hard part for me personally. My reset number 2, if this was divorce, then this was the 5-year breakup, what I call. So what happened after my divorce, and actually I have to admit too soon, I had not fully recovered, but I met somebody and I thought this was the thing. So we ended up being together for 5 years. And it was a classic up and down, toxic, addictive, if you will, type of relationship. And at year 3, I really deep down knew that this was the thing. I mean, I can't continue with this anymore. I had to call it quits. Why was it so hard for me? And what was the lesson that I learned? It was that saying no to me was really more difficult than I ever had thought and imagined. Why? Because I don't want to give up on anything. I finally had to understand that sometimes you have to let go. You can't help others, and you definitely cannot change anybody else. I'm not saying I'm blaming anybody. I always take 50% of the responsibility. But I've been the type of person who thinks that I can influence everything. I've said on this channel many times that one of my biggest weaknesses has been in the past that I've been a yes man. I think that naively I can influence everything. I can make every decision. I can just adversity doesn't happen to me until it started to happen big time, tenfold. So I had to learn how to say no, and I had to learn to let go and understand that I need to let certain fires burn. Then taking myself to reset number 3, and this is business. I had been doing real estate in the US, and I started another company here in Europe as well when we moved back. But deep down, I wasn't fully satisfied. I knew that there was another gear in me. There was something I had to do so that, again, putting myself in those future shoes, asking myself when I'm 90, is this something I need to do? Is coaching, is helping others something that I need to do now so that I don't regret it at the end of the day? What makes this reason number 3 really hard, and I'm living it right now, is that I need to ramp down something while I'm ramping up something else. Real estate, construction, development business is not something that you turn it off because you have liabilities, you have warranty issues, you have all kinds of projects that actually take much longer than you first thought. So I'm in the process of ramping something down while I'm ramping something else up. But again, it doesn't change. I need to make a decision to pull the plug on something else, even though that takes longer, and then floor it 100%, put all my effort, all my focus on this new business. And what makes it hard on a daily basis is that I need to reset my mind. I might have 24 things on my plate every morning when I wake up. But how do I then separate noise from signal? How do I make sure that I understand what's that one thing, or what are those 2 things that move the ball forward the most? And then focusing on those. What helps me is that I live in a one-day cycle. I just cut all dependencies to tomorrow, next week, let alone next month, and understand, okay, how is it that I survive today? What are the things that I need to do today that move the ball forward and make me better going forward? Because regret from the previous page is the thing that I'm scared of the most. There's no way I can be in my deathbed moment and understand that I let fear and pain dictate what I do. So, these were my 3 reset stories in my 40s. I haven't even covered the ones I did in my 30s and 20s. That's a different video, a different topic. But if we were to summarize, so my reset number 1 was hard because of the core family. I really needed to say no in a way to my kids and not being able to keep the core family together. The second reset was hard because of the relationship itself. We had deep chemistry, but then in the end it was just too chaotic. And number 3, what makes this hard right now is because of its 2 things. So ramp down and ramp up at the same time. But what really keeps me grounded is this simple question about fear versus regret. Because remember this, so if you let fear dictate what you do, you're avoiding the hard conversations. And most likely you end up being one of those people in your retirement home who's like among the 80% who say, okay, I wish I had done things differently in the past. Regret meaning is the thing that they regret the most. But if you focus on regret, you're most likely acting on something. You're taking action, you're facing your fears, and you understand that it's just a matter of getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. So that's what I wanted to do today. Cover this, my 3 resets, what changed everything for me. So understand regret versus fear. And are you acting or are you avoiding? And ask your future self. Put yourself in your 90 years old shoes, and that's how you get the compass, the direction that takes you forward. What's that one thing that you are suffering from right now? Is there anything I can help? Drop a comment below. I would be more than happy to help. That's it for today. Thank you for being there. I appreciate all the comments, all the feedback. And again, I'll see you in the next video.